Hello everyone and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. This canola field gives us a pretty good idea of how Oklahoma's crop is shaping up as we round out the first month of the new year. So this week, a few tips for producers before we head back into the growing season. We're joined now by Josh Bushong, our winter canola specialist. And Josh, you're going to give us kind of an overview of how the crop is looking so far. Let's start off with the number of planted acres and what the condition is right now.
Well, kind of some of the estimates we've heard of this fall as far as planted acres of canola, according to the seed sales and so forth, is that we're estimating somewhere between 175 to 200,000 acres in Oklahoma and the southern Great Plains, so kind of into southern Kansas, northern Texas area, including those in that number too. So in the region, we're up from last year quite a bit. So.
And when you've been out looking around, overall, how is the crop looking at this stage?
Most of it, guys have been able to get a stand. It's still looking quite well. We've had enough rains to keep it going. Hopefully we'll get some more rains this spring to make it have enough water for harvest. But most of the stands are looking quite well. Some are a little bit thinner than optimal, but still enough to have a viable plant or crop at harvest. So most of what I've seen is looking pretty good. And
let's take a look at your crop that you have right here in the field. Tell us about this plant and kind of what some of your concerns are, or what producers may be looking at when they see something similar to this.
Well, when they're going up, look, especially this time of year, it's starting to go dormant, so the growth is obviously slowed down quite a bit, if not halted to a complete stop. But the leaves that we produce in the fall can be defoliated from the frost. As long as the growing point's still green, the plant is still alive. So a lot of guys get kind of worried when they see leaves starting to drop off and turn white to tan. Some other signs we can see early on, we had some infestations of some cutworms. You see the kind of the shotgun holes in the leaves. Sometimes you'll see kind of a window painting effect where the young larva just took off some of the leaf. If you hold it up to the light, you can almost see through it. They call that window painting. But most of these holes, they appear to be older. It's been sprayed since then, so we don't currently have any worms out here now, but the damage is still there from when they were here earlier. But obviously you want to dig throughout the crop thoroughly, turn over leaves. A lot of times the worms or aphids are on the bottom sides of the leaves. And in the fall and winter, you still want to look out for army cutworms. They come and lay their eggs mid-fall, so if they're there, they're in the soil, so you have to kind of dig and scratch around to find those. Sometimes you'll see a small purplish plant or real stunted plant. You go to pick it up and it's been severed right at the soil surface. A lot of times that's an indication of cutworms, so dig around, try to find some of those. So get out, look. It's hard to find the insects most of the time, but as we start to get later in January and February, most of our crop is planted with a seed treatment, which is excellent for aphids throughout the fall and winter, but we're starting to lose that effectiveness, so we need to start scouting heavily for aphids, as well as the diamondback and cutworms. And as we go into the spring, continually looking for aphids would be the main insect to be on the watch out for.
So even though it's winter and things are growing slowly or not at all, it's important to keep an eye on the development still.
Yeah, go ahead and keep scouting at least once, maybe twice a week. The diamondback moth larva is a small green worm. They're kind of hard to find, like I said, but as it starts to get colder, they'll work their way down to that crown or growing point and eat at that some. And if they eat at it too much, it'll kill the plant. So we've seen some heavy infestations of diamondback moth larvae actually thin the crop out over winter. We come back in the spring and they try to blame it on this, that, the other, but the main excuse is they think it died out from the winter or freeze damage, but we start looking at it and you can tell the carcasses were killed by diamondbacks or something.
Okay, and you say now is the time for top dress applications?
Yeah, start thinking about top dress. If you didn't get a soil sample last fall before you planted, definitely want to get one this winter before you top dress, kind of give you an idea of what you need. Rule of thumb, we kind of suggest about 2.5 pounds of nitrogen per bushel of canola. Wheat's about 2 pounds per bushel, so it's a little bit more than wheat would need, but we usually kind of split apply just like wheat, put down some pre-plant and some down top dress. If you haven't Put down any sulfur. If your soil test says you need sulfur, go ahead and put some of that down with your top dress. Make sure it's a sulfate form that's available, readily available to the plant. You don't want to use an elemental source of sulfur in the spring because it won't be available to the plant. So if you haven't done a soil sample, go ahead and get a soil sample and start top dressing before it starts growing again.
Okay. This time of year, you're starting to get organized for spring. You and your Canola colleagues, you're going to be planning those spring tours again?
Yeah, OSU is going to do a second year of that. We, with the help of the Oklahoma Oilseed Commission, we got funding to carry out that project again, where we set up about 15 different locations across the state, different variety strips and demo strips, where we'll use those as hosts for the tours this spring. Mid-April is when we're planning on them.
All keeping harvest in mind, of course.
Yeah, especially guys that have quite a bit of acreage and they're going to need some help, especially from a custom harvester. Start making those contacts, get ready so they know what kind of acres they have where. If they're going to swath or they're going to need a pickup swath, make sure they know to bring down their pickup headers. And go ahead and start making those contacts, just so you know how frantic harvest gets. So start making those contacts now is a good idea.
Okay, and finally, you're going to be heading out to Canola U at the end of February?
It's for new as well as experienced canola growers to try to learn some more about canola production. So there's quite a few presenters there, some from OSU, some from industry.
Yeah, sounds like a good mix. Okay, Josh, thanks a lot. And for more information on Canola U, you can go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.